Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Slant 3D podcast, the show about 3D printing and our place inside the industry. Today we're going to talk about a $40 million funding round to a 3D printing company, 3D printed corals, and of course, the P2S from Bambu Lab. Finishing it all up with a little bit of a discussion around creativity and some of the stuff that we've done with Teleport, which has been like a ton this last week. But before that, let's go ahead and pay the bills. This episode is brought to you by Portals. Portals is the instant upload application that allows you to start selling 3D prints in less than a minute. All you have to do is go over to Portals, upload a file, give it a description, and 30 seconds later you will have a link to that product ready for people to buy your item and get the item in the mail. You do not have to build a print farm. You don't have to know how shipping works. You do not have to run an e-commerce store. All you have to do is create an awesome product and then upload it. Then anyone in the world can purchase your item. It's supported by Slant 3D's print farms with hundreds to thousands of machines supporting your business. So whether you sell 1 or 1,000, Portals allows you to start selling 3D prints right away and lets you focus on the creative part rather than what the latest tariffs are. So check out Portals over at slantpod.com. All right, first piece of news. Caracol has raised $40 million to expand their large format 3D printing. Caracol, an Italian deep tech company that has pioneered large-scale robotic additive manufacturing, raised $40 million USD in a Series B funding round to help accelerate its global expansion. This investment will support the company's continued push into new global markets, including scaling up its operations in the United States, the EU, and Middle East. It will deepen its overall development of both polymer and metal 3D printing systems and industrial applications. The funding round was supported by Omnes Capital, Move Capital Fund, and CDP Venture Capital's Large Ventures Fund. Italian institutional investors such as Primo Capital SGR, Eureka Venture SGR, and Niva SGR also put their backing behind Caracol's funding goals. The Series B was oversubscribed and enabled early investors to leave with strong returns. This highlights the international confidence, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Caracol has spent the last 5 years within the industry establishing itself. This is a little bit press releasey. So far, the company has reduced costs by up to 70% for maritime customers and halved tooling lead times for automotive and motorsports manufacturers. This aligns with the industry push towards circular economic practices, which promote sustainability and minimize waste. Okay, Caracol makes 3D printing end effectors for giant robot arms, which turn the giant robot arms into 3D printers. This is effectively what they're doing. They have been around, yes, for I feel like they've been around for longer than 5 years, but Caracol is definitely one of the better ones. They've started out with polymer, just having a big old pellet extruder mounted to the end of the robot arm. And then just in the last year, they've expanded into metal where they have an EDM welder on the end of the arm so they can weld metal parts. And this is super useful if you're making like a boat or something along those lines, any sort of large part. You can make tooling, all kinds of things. So that's kind of where Caracol fits in. And yes, they've been doing well for a while. And I think I believe, in kind of the more viral sort of scene of what they've been doing, Dive Design, I believe, used Caracol for printing furniture. And yeah, so far they've said they've shipped 100 systems. If you believe that the robot costs $100,000, which is not what they're selling this system for, then yeah, there you go. You got $10 million, $10 million of revenue from that. $40 million funding round for a startup-y. That means they're valuing them probably about $400 million. Potentially less. They could be like $250 about $250 million potentially, depending on how fast their growth is. But anyway, yeah, interesting thing. That is news per 3D natives. Next piece of news, also per 3D natives. Abu Dhabi partners with Reef to use 3D printing for coral reef restoration. They recently announced an exciting partnership that embraces cutting-edge... The UAE is home to the largest coral reef in the region, called the Ras Ghanada Protected Area. The wildlife area spans nearly 55 square kilometers and contains 7.1 square kilometers of coral. The city government signed a memorandum of understanding with Arca Reef, a climate technology company specializing in nature-based solutions to keep and restore. Yes, great thing. Arca Reef's reef tiles are produced using 3D printing technology that allows the precise biomimetic shapes inspired by natural coral formations. They are made from non-toxic terracotta clay and offer an eco-friendly alternative to conventional artificial reef materials. Their unique geometry prevents them from sinking into the seabed and provides the stability. Yes. So the biomimicry layer. Yes, it's all good things, all good things. Okay, Arca Reef makes hexagonal tiles with a Hilbert curve on the inside of it. Not to oversimplify what they're doing. It's more biomimetic than that, but not by much. These tiles are large, like 4 or 5 foot wide terracotta tiles that are set down on top of a platform. And then since they're so organically shaped, there's places for coral to latch on and fish to hide in and everything else. So when they plant these tiles, they will put these tiles in and then they'll drop some little chunks of coral around inside of the tile, and then coral can grow on it. Now, this isn't wildly groundbreaking. There's a lot of people who've been doing this kind of stuff. You can throw an old car down into a coral reef and make sure it's all cleaned of oil and things will latch onto that. You can throw down concrete rocks and things will latch onto that. From my own personal perspective, I've never really understood the value of like a custom built tile for reefs. I know that it's like an Uber optimization to where you have a perfectly spaced, maybe surface area maximized spot. But I know it's also more expensive. That being said, forming a concrete mold versus printing a concrete tile may not be that much of a difference in cost. I remember a few weeks ago, we were talking about a seawall company that was printing seawalls. I was like, that would probably make sense compared to molded concrete seawalls and also be more robust. This might have a similar scenario. They're terracotta, which means you're going to break all the time, but if you get them off the boat, okay, should be okay. And to be fair, this coral reef is quite small, 55 square kilometers, they say. Yeah, I believe it was 55 square kilometers, which is what I just said. That's 10, less than 10 by 10 kilometers, less than 5 by 5 miles. Or less than 10, yeah. So it's a fairly small area to where this sort of less scalable way of doing it might be just fine rather than dumping a bunch of cleaned cars down there. Bambu Lab launches P2S. Expand. I'm not doing that. This is per 3dprint.com. 2 years after releasing the P1, Bambu is back with the P2S. The new printer builds on the success. It's changing the pace of the entire industry. The P2S continues the story not by replacing the P1, but by refining the affordable high-performance 3D printing can be. Okay. It combines the proven reliability of the P-Series with new features from Bambu's higher-end H2 line, including a DynaSense extruder, active airflow cooling, AI-powered error detection, and 5-inch touchscreen. Okay. I don't want to talk about the P2S. We don't talk about the P2S. We don't talk about consumer machines on this show very often, and I'm not going to do a review. But the P2S, here's the thing. It's got a 5-inch touchscreen. It's got some more software on it, and they've moved away from carbon fiber rails to metal rails for running the whole thing. Oh, and the nozzle is more easily removable and replaceable than the ones before, which is actually a very good improvement. But that is the P2S. If you want a review of the P2S, go watch somebody who does reviews of printers, because I'm not that person, and I'm never going to be that person. They don't even email us anymore about this stuff. But yes, the P2S is there. There it is. Context report reveals sharp declines in industrial mid-range 3D printer stuff. This is kind of a continuation of the news that we've had so far. The context report is a report that comes out about, it feels like it's quarterly, but it might be annual because life and time just moves faster. Entry-level machines increased by 13% between between 2024 of last year and this year so far, year to date from last year to this year. Mid-range machines, industrial machines all decreased by about 12 to 14%. So it is a slowdown of the entry-level machines because I believe we had a 30 or 40% increase in entry-level machines last year. And this year to have only a 13% increase proves kind of the theory that we've been operating on, that Bambu is moving up market into more professional machines because they can't sell any more consumer machines any faster. According to Context, all segments except entry level experienced double-digit drops in sales in Q2 of this year. At top, you can see a chart illustrating how things have changed. In the industrial mid-range segments, Context believes most of the declines are due to high interest rates. Most of this equipment is priced quite high, meaning the businesses must take leases or loans to acquire the gear. And that's where the interest rate problem comes in. Context also noted there are some individual company successes in the quarter, while there are also corporate chaos due to mergers and divestments. This is per Fabaloo.com. In the professional segment, Context sees material extrusion collapse while resin equipment grew significant. The resin equipment is likely due to success of companies like Formlabs, which has produced a winning system with their new Form 4 platform. Professional FFF market has collapsed because of competition from entry-level equipment. Yes, all the things. Interest rates are high. People don't want to get a loan to buy a $250,000 machine, so those sales are down. And Bambu exists, and the other improvements of those machines have existed. So industrial and professionals type of machines, their sales will be decreasing because people can get a Bambu machine. Excuse me. Right. Okay. Right. So that's the news, guys. Good batch of news this week. Moving into the Christmas season, there will be other sorts of news. We're going to try to dig up toy sales and that kind of stuff. It's really interesting. The last few weeks, I've had some really interesting conversations with some people who will remain nameless because, but the prep for the Christmas this year, this is going to be kind of a breakout year for 3D printed products, I'm pretty sure. But okay, updates around teleport and portals. Okay, so teleport and portals. Moving in here, let's see here. Let me get just one little note done here. Teleport updates. First of all, we have more third-party parts in it now. We have added some more magnets. We have added drywall screws. We have added some new M4, M5 cap head screws. New adhesives for indoor and outdoor. 5-pound command strips are available there so that you can add them to your 3D printed parts. You have 2 different light and lamp modules for pendant lights and base lamps. We have included a 5-watt bulb, a 50-watt Philips Hue bulb, and so that, yeah, it can connect to Alexa, your smart home, or just be Wi-Fi enabled and app enabled, so you can turn it on there. We have released custom inserts for teleport and portals, and this is kind of a big deal. Custom inserts, it is in the subscription tier of teleport, but it's $20 a month. It's super cheap for what it is. Like the what you can do is you upload a 4x6 sheet, and you will get and we will print out that artwork or whatever it is on a sheet like this. This is one that's sitting on my desk, but a 4x6 sheet. So you can put a QR code that's a link to a video about how to use the item. You can have a thank you note. You can upload a digital signature or something so it seems more personable. You can design it and put stuff in. The one rule with it is it's still in black and white because it is printing out on thermal labels, so it is going to be black and white for the time being. When you upload it, you can upload it for particular products so that you can have an instruction set for that particular product, or you can create a default for your entire store so that all of your products get the same note inside of it. All of those are there, and it will be included with your packing list when your orders are packed up through Teleport. So when Slant 3D is printing and shipping your items for you, those custom inserts will go in the box for you. So that has been rolled out and is available right now. So there's that. We've released vase inserts. So you get a 50 milliliter test tube is available now, and a 6-inch tall glass vase. So you can make a vase around it. We have a video will be out on SlantPod, or is already out on SlantPod, along with podcast that will that goes through all the dimensions of each one of these things, shows the demos. We added a new nightlight. You have the old kind of yellow color nightlight, which is the traditional one that most people use, but it kind of has a weird coloration on the nightlight itself. So we've added in a new one that was actually a suggestion from one of our followers, Distracted Dragon, who asked for sent us a type of nightlight that's made by a separate company that's a white LED. It's a lot brighter. It has a smoother sort of lighting of one of these nightlights. So that is available, but all the dimensions are still the same. It'll still work with like Lithophane Maker and all the rest of them. And it's Litho, Nightlight Maker, whatever else they are. So you have another nightlight there that's stronger. We have released Orange PETG. So if you are doing functionalist outdoor parts that need high visibility, Orange is now available. And we have allowed you to turn on and turn off supports for your parts. So this will be a big improvement around just having stuff processed more quickly, because the default for all parts was always to have support generate by default, because most parts need support. But with the supports toggling feature, the supports can be turned on and off, and it will make your parts process a little bit faster because there's less print time on them and there's less post-processing time on them with having those supports come off. So I recommend toggling that if your parts do not need support. Okay. Whew, we've got a lot of stuff out the door this week on Teleport. So yeah, that's there. And then the $1,000 prize for Portals is still active and going, and will be going until the first week of December. This is for if you sign up for Portals with a .edu account or similar college account. We've had some people from colleges that do not have EDU accounts. We are working with you, and that's fine. You can do that, so long as you prove that you're a student at a place. But this is for the students. If you can sell $1,000 worth of merchandise through Portals, we will pay you $1,000. So that is how the prize is. It's live. It's active. Yeah, do that. You have to have a Portal store. It can be existing prior. Oh no, you have to go from $0 to $1,000. Yeah, $0 to $1,000 in December. And then let's see here. What else? Those are the big ones. Yeah, let us know if there's anything else you want us to release on Portals. It's gonna start accelerating, guys. Like, we've been spending all year building out like core infrastructure and stuff to make sure Portals is good, from software and all the rest of it. Teleport and Portals. Teleport is pretty darn tight right now. You have analytics inside of there. We've released Portals so that you don't even have to build an Etsy store anymore. It's really sick right now. And now we're rolling straight along. Third-party parts, by the way, are something people really should lean on. They're a really fantastic addition to any one of these things. So yeah, you can sell a full lamp now that people can just put the 4 pieces together, and then the lamp is ready to go. And we'll keep expanding from there. By the way, we had this discussion internally, assembly of 3D printed parts, or through Portals and Teleport. The reason Slant 3D hasn't released that yet is because it's just really, really dangerous. It's really difficult to print a part, include parts, post-process it, make sure all the support is removed, make sure that every single random part that comes through us is done really well. And we've made great strides in that quality and that kind of stuff. Like, we've shipped more parts than we've ever shipped before in a day, and the way we measure it is like through cancels and refunds, because that's open-ended, and there's 0. It's literally declining to 0, and like there's blips once in a while, mainly from people prototyping and that kind of stuff. But or just canceling an order kind of randomly. But quality's way up. But when you do assembly, now there's another step in the process to where you need more people and you need a new minimum volume of stuff. That being said, if somebody is in Boise or something like that. Like, I think there's probably a market for somebody to build a company around us to where it's like somebody sets up teleport and then they have everything, all the parts shipped to this other company, and then this other company assembles it. So if you're selling like $100 lamp, it will probably cost like $20 for us to make it or so. You can pay $10 to have it shipped down the street or anywhere in the country, I guess. And then the person who receives it can assemble it and then ship it to the final customer. But then that person on the receiving end can fully understand what the product is and how it needs to be optimized and everything else, so that it's just better. Because if we have to assemble a Raspberry Pi case and then a lamp and then a cookie cutter bow or something like that, there's so much variation there and so many weird instructions and steps and things, and many parts just aren't designed to be very manufacturable, to where it's better if people hand assemble it themselves. It's really tough to do it in a factory context, especially also if we ever did that, there would be like minimum volumes around it. Like you would have to ship a minimum of like 1,000 of them per month or something in order for us to be able to support training people how to assemble your items. We're not against it. It's just, it's very difficult to put into a production context. And when we're doing a lot of individual parts, and some people sell one part a month and some people sell 10,000 a month, it's just really difficult to maintain have the same service quality for that 1% a month. We could put it behind paywalls and all these other things, but minimum volumes are more direct. But yeah, assembly may come someday in the future, but it's just not available right now. But it's also a really good opportunity to engage with your customers, because you can, them being able to build their stuff, it's the IKEA principle. People have more ownership and love for the item because they put it together, even though the item's from IKEA and it's cardboard, paper furniture. But it's just sort of funny. So yeah, all that stuff is there. Discussion topic. Alrighty. Discussion topic. Productive creativity. Huh. Okay. Oh, yeah, this. So I was, Slant 3D is a fairly creative organization. We are constantly coming up with new products. We make YouTube videos. We're interacting with a lot of creative people who are designing awesome stuff, and we're problem solving for clients, all these things. But we do all of that under a timeline, which is what most creatives never have to interact with. Most creatives are these tortured geniuses who stare at a blank canvas for 3 weeks and then spritz some paint up there and then say, it's not right, I'm throwing it out, it's not perfect. And then they move on to the next one and they do it again, and they slowly go broke until they have to go get a real job, or they go get a job at a coffee shop while they work on their screenplay at night, and that kind of thing. There is nothing wrong with that, because that is kind of endemic to the creative process, because being a highly creative person means that you're not very conscientious most of the time, because creativity just wires you different from somebody who will do a checklist. You are somebody who wanders and plays. But we're an organization. We have to pay the bills. So we have to be creative, but also get the job done. And I was running through this, and there's an excellent talk by John Cleese where he goes through creativity, because he was a television writer. And he's like, we have to make some really funny TV sketches, but we also have to do it this year when the TV show is due. So he discusses it and goes through it in great depth. And if you don't know, John Cleese is an Oxford-educated psychology major or something like. I think he was actually like an English history major or something when he was there. But a very educated man. Everybody from Monty Python were Cambridge guys. So these very, very educated gentlemen who just enjoyed silliness. But when I was thinking about this and I was running through some of these things, because I wanted to explain it to like people who worked here, and I wanted to distill it in a way that the team could kind of have actionable ways of going about a project. Because it's like, okay, we got this project, we don't know how we're going to do it, it's due next week, create something interesting. I was like, what are things you can do to put yourself in the state of mind to be creative but do it in a productive context? because creativity dies almost as soon as you put a timeline on something. As soon as you say it's due tomorrow, people are like, oh my gosh, it's due tomorrow, it's due tomorrow, it's due tomorrow. And they get in, this reptilian brain takes over, and this also hyper-rationalist brain takes over, to where you get a rushed, uninspired result if there's a timeline tomorrow. So this was meant to be kind of a checklist of things to do when you're in that state to just recontextualize and put yourself in the right spot. So, principles of productive creativity. Number 1, give space. Regardless of the timeline, there is always a spare hour, and that hour will be useful. Use it to just percolate. If there is a project far in the horizon to where you have enough time, but you don't know what you're going to do, allow it to be a brain worm in the moments, in the month ahead, so solution can form before work even starts. Giving space. This means look at the project, understand the project, and then just let it sit in the back of your brain so that when you sleep, when you're mowing the lawn, whatever else it was, the wheels can just turn back there. And then if inspiration strikes between now and when it's due, your brain is primed to see that inspiration. Oh, I'm working on how to plant trees. Oh, here's a guy planting trees. That's a weird thing. Oh, he wrapped it up in stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But also, if it's like due tomorrow, you're like, I've got 10 hours to get this done. Take an hour and just ruminate. Just let it be. Just play around with it. Say like, oh, we got to build this box. Well, what if we made it a circle or something like that? And just play with it. Give yourself time. Because number 1, the timelines are very rarely as tight as people realize, even if it's a half hour away. If it's a half hour away, give yourself like 5 minutes to just be like, okay, that's weird. Because the difference between 30 minutes and 25 minutes is not that much. And the amount of inspiration that you can get from just giving your brain a moment to not be obsessed about it will create way better results. Be playful. Be childlike. Remove the stakes from the conversation and just explore it like Play-Doh. I use Play-Doh really explicitly because Play-Doh has no intention to it. You poke it, you squeeze it, you roll it, you do a bunch of random stuff to Play-Doh. And you should do that with ideas or some task. Just poke it, squash it, play with it, do 2 sentences, let it wander off, whatever it might be. And while you're doing that, hold it lightly. When you try to make a snowman out of Play-Doh, you're not like the snowman has to be perfect. You're just like, there's a snowman. Wham! And you smash it into a ball again. Be playful and be childlike just means that nothing really matters while you're messing with this stuff. And the stakes are really low. And you're just like, whatever, here's the thing, whatever, so on and so forth. So if you're trying to be creative, you have to give yourself, again, the room to mess with it and remove the stakes from it. It's got to be done tomorrow. The snowman's got to be perfect. It's like, I'll make a snowman here in the next half hour somewhere there. That kind of thing. Target finished, or never target finished. Target better. Most projects are an evolution of a project that came before. And many people get hung up on getting it done rather than actually improving on it. Whereas the improvement is the thing that matters, right? We don't want the same version of Windows that we had before, but with a different wrapper. We want something better. So finished, and if you're starting from a white sheet of paper, finished is way more intimidating because you're like, I got to write a book. I got to write 500 pages. It's like, no. You got to write 2 pages today. You're targeting better. You're targeting improvement. You're targeting an evolution. You're not looking at the finish line right now. Because as soon as you start looking at the 500 pages, then you get locked up in like, I got to structure my story and I don't know who the person is and I don't know how this is going to go. And I don't know blah, blah, blah. And the scale of the stuff to be achieved starts to weigh on you. Whereas if you just target better, you're like, I'm right here. Well, I'm going to take that next step up to the next stair step. So don't target finished. Don't look at the finish line 2 miles down the road. Look at, I'm going to take another step here. Take another step. And again, all of this is to remove the pressure so that your brain doesn't get tied up in knots about the timeline. And basically, The first one I said, give space. The two subsequent ones are all kind of ways of giving yourself space while you're doing it. Finished sets an impossible goal. You will go into a mental lock and create unachievable goals that will result only in your failure to meet the unachievable. Writing a 500-page book. Don't target the physique, target going to the gym every day. Right. If you start out of shape at the gym and you're like, I'm going to get jacked, the only thing you're going to think about every day is how you are not jacked. And you're going to lose it. If you're a painter and you're trying to paint the Mona Lisa, every day you're just going to think about how you're not painting the Mona Lisa. As opposed to saying, I'm painting something better than what I painted before, and I'm getting closer to what I want to create. Copy someone else. If you can't be creative, don't be creative. Look at what the best did in this situation, or look for similar situations and simply avoid the failures. It is amazing how well performing you can be by being someone else. This is always kind of hilarious to me. Whenever somebody comes to a problem, almost everybody will attempt to create a new solution to that problem because it feels bad to do exactly what somebody else did. People will be like, no, I'm gonna put my spin on this. And I'm like, you can put your spin on this after it's working. But if it doesn't exist, just do what the other guy did. And then by doing what somebody else did, you will learn from that. And now you can put your spin on it within your context. Because generally, your perception of your context is way worse than what you imagine it to be. And so if you're putting your spin on it before you know how the world reacts to the thing that you're making, you won't learn anything from it. We have done this with like our YouTube channel. We've made both mistakes on our YouTube channel. We're like, we're going to do a totally creative video. Nobody's ever seen it before. And then nobody watches it. Versus we're going to clone that video. And we're going to copy the script beat for beat. Or follow this template that somebody gave us. So like, here's some steps of what you should do in your video. And we're like, damn it, we followed that checklist and that video did really well. Like those types of things. But it's not bad to copy someone. The quote everybody's thinking right now is, good artists create and great artists steal. That sounds like a bad quote, but it's not one. Great artists look at what everybody else is doing and internalize it to themselves, and then they go from there. So they stand on the shoulders of giants and then they go higher. Most people look at stealing and they're like, oh, you just took my stuff and then stood over there. It's like, no. In the creative process, if you are an artist and you can appreciate what other artists are doing, then you can take what they have and make it a part of yourself and then add on top of it. So you build something far greater than what any lone wolf would do. It's indirect teamwork. Yeah, it's indirect teamwork. I'm going to call it that. But yes, it's totally fine to copy someone else. And by the way, if you ever went to a coach, guess what? The coach is teaching you what they know. But if the coach could just demonstrate it and then you would copy him, he wouldn't have to coach you. But the coach is there to get you away from stupid self-creativity when it's like, you just got to do the layup. Stop trying to dunk it. Do the layup right. You're jumping off the wrong foot. Okay. So yes, it's totally fine to copy. In the context of business or getting a job done, if someone in a separate department had the same task, go ask them for what they did and all of their work and say, great, I'm going to use your Canva template to create this ad campaign. And then I'll put my own spin on it. Start with something that exists. Copy other people, other industries, other competitors, other people who are good at it, people from 2,000 years ago. It doesn't matter. Embrace constraints as a challenge rather than limits. Again, this is a reframing to keep your creativity thing. You are way more creative when you're excited about a project and you're like, hoorah, let's go, rather than when you think, oh man, I'm stuck and I got to do this. You immediately shut your brain down. When you're like, I can't use a $2 million budget. How am I supposed to get this done? No, you're just like, oh boy, I get to show them I can get this done with less than $2 million budget. Here we go, boys. I'm gonna knock this out of the park. That kind of a thing. So, embrace constraints as a challenge rather than limits, and own them rather than dwelling on what you don't have. When you dwell on what you don't have, you'll never create it. This is like people talking about 3D printing quality or something like that. The layer lines look garbage. Prints can never make final products. Versus somebody who actually made products who's like, the layer lines are part of the texture, they're the grain in the wood, so you design around the grain in the wood. Or 3D printing lets you have full control of geometry, so I'll just use fuzzy skin and I'll create a new product that uses fuzzy skin and has a different texture from what any other product comes in. Embracing the constraints rather than using them as an excuse to not do anything. This is the big one. Because if you embrace the constraints, you're like, okay, cool. I have to do it this way because that's what my restrictions are. Many constraints often come from on high, from like your boss. So people are like, you dick boss didn't let me do this. But if they're enforced by the environment, then it can be difficult. I have to run this marathon in the rain. So what are you going to do about it? Everybody else is running in the rain too. Just get over it. Embracing constraints and just accepting the world as it is, not as you would like it to be. And your brain is like, oh, we're accepting the world as it is? Okay, fine. I'm going to go back to playing with the Play-Doh then. Oh, this is kind of a cool way of messing with this. If you're into mud, make mud pies. Like, it's kind of fun. If you're trying to get to a creative solution, a really good exercise is to ignore everything and imagine the best thing, and then work backwards from there. So if you are constrained, if you are in a timeline and everything else, a really good way of getting to a good solution is to say, if I had unlimited budget, unlimited time, unlimited resources, what would I do? And this, I stole this from Brian Chesky, who's the CEO of Airbnb, who's an exceptional product person. He said, what we will do with a product is we will say, okay, 5 stars is the very best experience. 5 stars for Airbnb is you show up, the place is clean, there's a thank you note on the counter. That's a 5-star experience. And the door unlocks when I get there and it's easy to get in. That's a 5-star experience. He says, okay, well, what would be a 10-star experience? Oh, a 10-star experience. Well, a 10-star experience would be an Uber or a limo picks me up at the airport, and then there's a meal made that's warm waiting for me when I get in. And then somebody brings by a violinist to play sweet music live for me there at my Airbnb. Okay, what's a 20-star experience? Oh, a 20-star experience is I've got 20 rooms and a golden toilet, and then there's a butler there and a private chef who makes the meal in that moment specifically for what I asked for, and this other kind of stuff. And he says, okay, those are the exceptional experiences. We can't afford to do that. You can't afford that with an Airbnb cost, but what parts of that experience can we take down within our constraints? Oh, people need to get in easy. Maybe we can pay for custom locks on the door so that the Airbnb app unlocks the door for us or something like that. Maybe that's something we could work on. Oh, well, we can't do custom chef, but you could have the option in your Airbnb to have meal prepared and DoorDash, and we can integrate with DoorDash and deliver a meal ahead of you based on when your plane lands. We can do that as a software company, those sorts of things. So imagining the best thing, it's really easy to imagine a perfect world. I'm going to have chocolate and gold and all this stuff, and then you come backwards from that with your restrictions. So if the constraints are holding you off, remove them for a moment, find out what you would do, and then put the constraints back in and figure out how to work with that constraint. So printing layer lines. Again, in a perfect world, a 3D print would be gloss smooth. You can't go gloss smooth. Okay, well, I can make something fuzzy. I can make something textured and tactile. So maybe I can make a product for kids who are very sensual and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So ultimately, in order to be creative on demand, it's about reframing yourself and giving your brain the time and space that you need to actually be creative. Obviously, timelines kill creativity immediately, but if you are still able to reframe that timeline as a constraint that you just absorb and be like, okay, fine, I got 20 minutes to come up with this. I'm going to come up with the best thing I can, and if it goes, it doesn't. Removing the stakes from it is also useful, but that's separate. So give yourself space, be playful with it, allow yourself to toy with the idea. Never target finished, never target some imaginary end goal, target just making something better, and you'll find way more creative solutions. You'll find a small solution that will make it 10 times better. Copy someone else. Use other people's creativity if they already have the solution. That's okay. Embrace constraints rather than dwelling on them as something stopping you. And then ignore whatever you're expected to do and imagine what you would do with unlimited time and unlimited resources. Imagine the best world scenario and then work backwards from that. And you'll come up with really creative solutions. And yes, I don't know if we'll link to it in the description, but John Cleese gave a talk about this. If you go John Cleese creativity on YouTube or something, you'll see it. It's from like 1972 or along those lines. And John Cleese, obviously, actor in Monty Python, also did some fantastic ads for Compaq Computer that I highly recommend anybody in advertising watch because they're fantastic. And in the context of copying people, we might do a couple of those one of these days. So anyhow, alrighty. That's the podcast for the day, guys. Hope it was useful to you. Comment down below any questions that you have for us. We'll probably do questions next week. We've been accumulating them for a few weeks, so we'll get back to them. Check out Portals if you haven't already. It's a really nifty tool. And you don't have to build Etsy or anything else. We're really proud of it, and people have been really liking it. So it's an awesome product, and it just got a whole lot better because we just added a ton of third-party parts in and other features. So that, and then finally, yeah, have a fantastic Halloween, guys. If you're partying throughout this coming week and that kind of stuff, may there be candy. And may there be spooks and thrills. Have a great day, everybody.